Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So welcome to the last week of Ramadan, of summer, essentially. This is the final time we meet in summer mode. And after today, for most of you, the school starts. Most of you, if not all of you, school has already started. And I want to make sure that I want to give you guys some advice before we jump into the class network, who you're going to be reciting to, who you're going to be reading to. I want to give you guys some advice to inshallah set you up for success. Because I promise you, if you bring this advice into action, you're going to be successful and you're going to be, inshallah, a bright star in the class. Simple advice is 3 points that I want to talk about quickly. And throughout the year, when I give different talks, you're going to hear this same advice kind of getting echoed. So really bring this now, bring it to life, and inshallah you're going to be set for the next year. So before I jump into my advice, I want to talk about a scary concept. It's a little scary. And the concept is known as, are you guys with me? Because I need your undivided attention. This is all you need. You arm yourself with this advice, you're set for the year. So, before you appreciate this advice, you need to know one concept. It's a kind of a scary concept. Known as attrition. What is it called? Attrition. It's a fancy ACT word, but you should know the meaning of it. Attrition is a disturbing reality. We have seen this in our class, and we see it in the real world outside. What is attrition? Attrition is when, in the course of time, certain things fall out because they're obsolete, they're no longer relevant, they're no longer up to speed, they're no longer demanded, they're no longer respected. So they get thrown out. For example, Apple no longer produces the first few models of iPhone anymore. They do that because nobody wants to buy them. Graphics suck. Processor is not up to speed. They're no longer in demand. What happens? Attrition. They're thrown out. In our company today, we have 60,000 employees. That's a lot of people. Do you think the 60,000 employees today, in the course of time, in a year, will be the same 60,000 employees tomorrow? Or in a year from now? What happens? Some people retire. Some people get fired. Some people change companies. They fall off the wayside. What's happening, people? Attrition. Or for example, let's say there's a big production plant which produces clothes. So they take a lot of cotton, and these big machines take the cotton and put it into clothes. Over the course of time, what happens? Some machines no longer keep up with the demand. They can't keep up with the expectations. Machines are too old, too much. It takes too much for you to maintain those machines. What happens? Manager throws them out, brings new machines. What do you call that? Attrition. In our class, we've seen attrition happen. 6 months ago, the faces that we had in our class are not the faces that are here today. I won't mention any names because this is being recorded. But attrition has happened before you. You can call names on top of your head of people who didn't do the classwork, who weren't disciplined, who didn't communicate right, who weren't keeping up with what was required of them to be part of this class. They weren't being the walking Qurans of tomorrow. What happened? Attrition happened. They're no longer here. Wallahi, every single one of you who is listening to me today and who's going to listen to me when this video is on YouTube, I pray to Allah that I see every single one of you next year as I'm seeing you today. And I hope you're not the target of attrition. And I hope you're not the ones who are being swallowed by the jaws of attrition. I really hope that. Because it takes a lot of hard work to invest in a student. A student is like a plant. You have to invest the right amount of sunlight, the right amount of energy, the right amount of water, and that's when you see results. You want to see that plant bearing fruits, not that you have to chuck that plant out. So, you guys understand what attrition is? Alright, now, what is the number one driver of attrition? Why is it that some people get hit with attrition and others don't? There could be a lot of reasons. Laziness, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to boil it all down to 3 words. Simple for you to remember. Nothing complicated, nothing philosophical, simple. This is the reason why X, Y, and Z are the prey of attrition and you guys are not so far. Just one reason. And that is lack of discipline. What is it? Lack of discipline. You guys, last weekend was my engagement weekend. Supposed to be one of the happiest times of my life, right? Except, I will tell you, I landed in Milwaukee Sunday night, 10 o'clock, and there were 4 students who I had not heard from all day. 10 o'clock at night, I have to text them and say, bro, I can't believe I haven't heard from you all day. Do you think you just took the time off because I had my engagement? That at 10 o'clock I have to text you and figure out where you've been all day? One of them texts back and says, oh, Brother Mir, I'm sorry, I was in Madison. Well, unless you were in an Amazon jungle out there, I don't know why you couldn't communicate. Or one student, for example, didn't do his sabak on Saturday, didn't do his sabak on Sunday. Nowhere to be found. Have to text his parents to try to figure out where he is. Lack of discipline. These are the kinds of people who get hit with attrition. One person, over the weekend, because there was no class, his criticals got all screwed up. By the time Tuesday comes around, criticals are so out of whack, so out of shape, that he tried to get out of it and made all sorts of excuses about it. Lack of discipline. These are the things that if you continuously do, you're going to be the one be the target of attrition. Lack of discipline is a serious problem. And guys, you have to be disciplined when it comes to your work, when it comes to your deadlines, when it comes to your expectations. I know you have heard this before, but I'm coming from a slightly different angle, and I hope you're feeling my pain. Lack of discipline is the reason why some faces are not here today who were here just 2 months ago. And lack of discipline is the reason that there are some students in our class now that I'm looking at who are on a verge of being attrited, literally. They have been given warnings, they have been given alarms, and I hope you wake up. And I hope you're not the next victim of attrition. But lack of discipline is the single one driver for why attrition happens. Now, one area where we see the most amount of discipline issues, guess what it is? Communication. Communication is a single one problem where we see so much lapse in discipline. Is unbelievable. I have a phrase that I like to use, and I want you guys to memorize it as well. In our class, communication is survival. You literally survive because of communication. If you want to keep attrition off your back, you got to communicate, bro. You got to learn to communicate. One student who didn't communicate all Sunday, mashallah, took a vacation. So 10 at night, all tired out from my plane ride, I'm like, bro, where you been? I cannot believe that you're gonna put so much stress on your teacher, man. Like, I feel sorry that someone has to chase you 10 at night. 10 at night? So he's like, Brother Mir, I was at the hospital at 1 o'clock. And what happened is that my appointment got moved around, and I ended up being at the hospital till 5. Then I came home at 6, and then my mom said that you go to sleep, I'll call Brother Mir and tell him what happened. Sounds like a pretty legit excuse, right? Except but his mom forgot to communicate. That's the whole issue. And then 10 o'clock at night, I'm trying to figure out where this majesty of this person is, right? I said, when you were in the hospital from 1 to 5, and your agenda deadline is 5 p.m., as time was trickling down, didn't it bother you that I should head up Brother Mir somehow? He said, oh, I didn't think of it. You didn't think of it. Wow. Lack of discipline. Survival in this class depends upon communicating. You got to communicate. We see it over and over again. One person, he's like, he didn't communicate all weekend. I said, bro, where you been? Hey, Brother Mir, you were getting engaged, so I thought I didn't want to really disturb you, so I didn't communicate, I said, Akhi, don't use my business as an excuse for you to not communicate. You want to be on the safe side and over-communicate. Because we have some amazing students in our class who, by the way, during agenda time, if they have to leave the house, they leave me a text. Brother Mir, my iPod will no longer be functioning. No longer be functioning. So if you want to text me on my mom's phone. That's a beautiful example of communication. Brother Mir, I'm still at the masjid. I haven't even gotten home yet. Just to let you know, inshallah, as soon as I go home, I'll text my full agenda. We have seen examples of star communicators. On the other hand, we have students who are so lax in communication that I'm telling you, they have attrition facing them straight in the eyes. You guys with me so far? So what is the number one thing we discussed? Attrition. What is the number one driver of attrition? Lack of discipline. Now, the third advice I want to share with you guys, after telling you to be a little bit more disciplined, The number one reason why people are not disciplined is what? See, we're building on it. Attrition, this lack of discipline drives attrition. What drives lack of discipline? And here's a one-word answer. Just a one-word answer, people. Excuses. Oh, I am sick and tired and allergic to excuses. I'm about to gag if I hear any more excuses. I am fed up to my eyes when it comes to excuses. Brother Amir, I'm sorry I got busy at work so I didn't text for agenda. Brother Amir, my alarm didn't go off, I didn't text for agenda. Brother Amir, I slept late, I couldn't text for agenda. Brother Amir, this happened, that happened, sky came falling down. I'm sick and tired of excuses. My charger broke down, my mom didn't wake me up. You know how many excuses I hear in a week? My phone is exploding with excuses. I'll tell you guys something. It's going to sound harsh, but I want you to listen to me. Bear me out, okay? Nobody cares about your excuses. On planet Earth, results are the only thing that matter. Hear me out. Nobody cares about your excuses. If you don't understand this fact now, you will appreciate it later. On planet Earth, results are the only thing that matter. If something happens to my father tomorrow, and I call up We Energies and say, my father's in a hospital for a month and I'm sorry, I can't pay the electricity bill. You think they care about your excuses? They want their money on the due date. They don't care about you or your excuses. Results are the only thing that matter. I don't want to hear about the fact that, you know what, yes, sometimes you have tests and homeworks and stuff that we are lenient with our students. It's not my way or highway. But excuses are become so many, they're reaching the clouds. I get 10 messages a day about some excuses. It's too much. Results are the only thing that matters. You guys, during Ramadan, when I'm leading Taraweeh, getting 5 hours of sleep, and taking care of our 25 students, you think I can go up to my boss and say, yo boss, I do have Taraweeh to take care of and I got kids to take care of and can I not just do this project or delay it for a month? He didn't want to hear about it. Nobody cares about your excuses. Nobody does. I'm sorry to tell you this. If you haven't learned this lesson, you will learn soon. I joined the MBA program. You guys know what MBA is? It's a Masters of Business program. So in order to get into a MBA program at a good university like Marquette, you have to do something called a GMAT test. You have to pass a GMAT test. You have to get a good score on it. And when the college likes your school score, you get into a good MBA program. So I signed up for GMAT. I paid $300 to take that exam. That's a lot of money, $300, right? I arrived on time. I prepared for the test. I paid the money. I checked all the boxes that I'm supposed to, right? On the day of test, I arrive. And I go up to the test register and I present my documentation. He says, I see that you're not a United States citizen because I have a green card. You're not a United States citizen. You need your Pakistani passport in order to take the test. I don't have my passport. What do you think I did? I came up with the most convincing excuses existing on planet Earth. Bro, I paid $300. My house is 40 miles away. It's an hour-long trip. Please let me go. My application deadline is tomorrow. I gotta get this in, and I'm probably half in tears. You think he cared? Send me home. I lost $300. Yeah, that's how the real world works. Nobody cares about your excuses. Results are the only thing that matters. Working out has been a priority for me lately. You guys might think, well, you're getting engaged, that's why, right? Workout has been a priority for me. I don't have any other time. I literally wake up at 5 in the morning and I go work out by my house. Because it's a priority. If something is a priority and you really want it, you will find the time. And so if something is not a priority, you'll find an excuse. That's how it works. Simple, straightforward. If it's a priority, you'll find the energy to do it. If it's not a priority, you'll find an excuse, bro. And we got a lot of excuses flying around. Way too many. One student, Brother Mir, his agenda is coming at 12:30, So Brother Mir, I decided to oversleep today because I had a headache. He decided to oversleep. And by the way, this is his 5th time in a row getting a late agenda. So it was the first time I would be like, I would overlook it. But Brother Mayor, I decided to oversleep. I had a headache. I'm like, you know what? If you had an ACT test that morning and you had a court date that morning, you would pop in some Tylenol and aspirin and you would get your agenda on time. Why? Because it's a priority. It's a priority. If it's a priority, you'll do it. And if it's not, you will find an excuse. I want to share with you guys one more example, and then inshallah I'm done with this advice. There's a person by the name of Brandon Carter, who's a bodybuilder, who's a rap artist. He has people Facebooking him all the times about workout advice. And this is a video he made. He's like, you know what? I got people all the time. Hey, yo, Brandon, how am I gonna find time to work out? Like I'm really busy. I got college. I got a job. How am I supposed to find time to work out? He's like, yo, if it's a priority, you'll find the time. And then he gives an example. He says, 5 years ago, my father shot and killed himself. Just imagine that for a second. He said, my father shot and killed himself. He said, the whole house fell upon my shoulders to take care of it. He's like, he left behind a bunch of bills and a bunch of problems. It's all in my lap now. I gotta take care of it. He's like, here I'm trying to stop my mom from crying, who lost her loved one. Here I'm trying myself from crying. And he said, I had to work 16-hour, 2-shift jobs to pay the bills that he left behind, to clean up the mess that he left behind. He said, despite those 2 jobs, I still worked out. I still woke up at 4:30, 5 in the morning, planned out my meals, logged what I ate all day. I still worked out. Why? It was a priority for him. So he gave his excuses a black eye. He squashed his excuses like bugs. Because if anyone could make excuses, it would be him now. It would be him then. So you guys, in a nutshell, I want to summarize for you. Excuses only get you so far. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you benefit from what I heard, what I have to say here today. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Qur'an al-Majid. Wa nafa'ani wa iyyakum bil ayati wa dhikril hakim. Let's summarize this. What have we learned here today? Let's recap quick. Number one thing we learned is the concept of attrition. I want to hear from everyone. When you say something, you remember it. What's the number one thing we learned? Attrition. Then we talked about what is the number one driver for attrition, and that is lack of discipline. And number one driver for lack of discipline is that people make too many excuses. And we got to give our excuses a black eye. That's right, people. So inshallah Rabbil Alameen, I hope you guys found this session beneficial. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as I wrap up my advice, that inshallah next year, when we meet like this in summer, every single person who's listening to me now is around and present. You guys, every single one of you, wallahi, I think I work hard for every single one of you. And honestly, my family complains that I don't give family enough time because of the time that class takes from me. It takes a lot of me, and it consumes a lot of me. So it takes a lot. It takes a lot of effort, and I hope every single one of you can be not only the beneficiary of this class, but can be the source of benefit for others for generations to come. And inshallah, this advice that I shared will help you get there. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it a source of immense benefit for you and me. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you're going to have an awesome, awesome, awesome school year and an awesome, awesome year of school. And inshallah, we're going to have some hafad here from now. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله.